Hey everybody, it's Kit here. Welcome back to another crochet vlog. Yeah, it's been a little bit. I took the week. I don't know if anybody watched the wildflowers episode or not. But yeah, I took a week off. I just kind of needed the break, honestly. I couldn't get videos up last week. It's 11:14 the night before this is going up now. It's fine. Yeah. But yeah, so I took the week and feeling better. Not great, but better. And yeah. So welcome back. We are making a special little finger loop blanket. I don't think the camera's going to show a lot. I don't know, I might try to get it to be a different angle. It's kind of a big project. It works up very quickly. I am making it for a dear family friend who is wheelchair bound, has been in and out of the hospital. She became paralyzed from the waist down, and it wasn't very good, so my mom asked if I would make a blanket for her, so that is what I am doing out of this. I made my mom a blanket out of this yarn a while back, and she loves that blanket, so now it's basically the go-to. Would you make this if she wants to gift a blanket to anybody? So yeah, that's what I'm doing, and it might be what I work on for the foreseeable future, just because I want to get it done as soon as possible, so that we can mail it. So yeah. As for Lost in Time, I actually I haven't started rewriting it yet, but I've been reworking the plot in my head and hopefully we'll get to bounce off some ideas off of a friend of mine who I feel safe that I can do that with. So hopefully soon we can talk about that. But yeah, I'm kind of excited with the ideas that I have kind of come up with. So yeah. And it's pretty much thanks to these videos, thanks to you guys and your support, Lori, really your support for that, and I don't know how to thank anybody. Really wish I knew how. But yeah. Anyway, so getting a little situated over here. Last time we read, was it chapter 8? Chapter 9? I don't remember. Oopsie. Aftermath. Change. I don't know. I'll have to, it's one of them. I think we're on chapter 8 or 9. One of the two. But last time, basically all of the Coven got signed up for school, which did not go well. It did not go well at all. Eli's mom made up a bunch of lies, and Eli found out. It was not very pretty. Eli put her in her place, fixed it all up, and then she had a little bit of a heart-to-heart with Marie Laveau about basically learning how to use her magic. And yeah. So a month has gone by in between that chapter and this one, as you're about to see in the transition, or you might be able to read it for yourself. I don't know. Anyway, let's get started. Something to drink. Sorry if my voice sounds a little raspy. I just got done with a D&D one-on-one, so that's a session between me and one other player instead of like a whole group, and I was making hag voices and all of that, so my throat is a little jacked. I did a lot of talking, and I'm about to do some more. I really hope you can't hear the dog snoring on my bed and not my feet. Okay then. Alrighty. Watson's in the yarn basket, dang it. Okay. So this chapter is Clock Won't Stop. It's amazing how fast time flies by. As a traveler, I understand the flow of time better than most, and it still goes by too fast for me to see sometimes, especially when I'm busy. A month had gone by, and all of a sudden it was the night before we were all departing for school. A whole month, gone in what felt like a blink of an eye. I could barely hear the murmurs and laughter of everyone downstairs eating and celebrating our freedom. Freedom? Since when was school freedom? I glanced at my barely touched sandwich and chips as I paced frantically back and forth, throwing a tennis ball up in the air in an effort to try and settle my nerves. I still do this to settle my nerves and think and everything else, just pacing and having a little ball or pacing. Yeah. What will the teachers be like? Will they be like in the movies? Wait, are they teachers or professors? What if they have funny names? Or no Wi-Fi? Or I have to share a room? What if it's like college and there's those dorm moms? Will we be doomed to have everyday check-ins? Round and round, the crazy thoughts spurred on by my panic zoomed around my head. I swear I wasn't going to last the night at this rate. I'd go completely psychotic. The thing was, my father had always homeschooled me. I had never wanted anything more. These last few years, all I had done was worked because I had already completed my schooling before I had moved. I had never experienced public school or boarding school or any school with other kids. That was fine by me. I wasn't willing to try it out. I had given college some thought, but had determined that later in life I would go. I just didn't feel like it right now. And yet, here I was. Okay. Eli, let's just go through our list again, I soothingly said to myself. Soothing didn't work this time as it hadn't worked the last 20 times. I picked up the tattered list again, manhandled into near death by myself all day. Clothes? Check. Toiletries? Check. Makeup? Check. School supplies? Unfortunately, check. TV? Check. Consoles? Check. Games? Check. Books? Check. Laptop? Check. And so on and so forth. I went down the list of every single one of my belongings, glancing at each of the correlating boxes as I did so, just to make sure. My room, once my sanctuary, was now barren, a medium pile of boxes stacked neatly in the middle of the wooden floor. Even my sheets were packed. I had had them since I was 13. I wasn't going to leave them behind. Interesting. I'm seeing correlations of just different, possibly conflicting, either conflicting plot points or sentences, just conflicting information either between my brain and the book, or it was already said. But yeah, sorry. Making mental notes. They were one of the few things I still had from my home. Never mind, I explained it there. Tonight I was sleeping on the bare mattress with a cozy blanket. So this was it. I stared at the list, feeling my heart jump into my throat again. This was my life, all packaged and crossed off neatly on a list. Once again moving. To go to a school. With other people. Yeah, that is a nightmare, isn't it? I took a deep breath, carefully setting the list down as I tried not to panic once more. My emotions had been haywire all day. Starting at work this morning when I snapped at Peter for his usual snarky comments, and a coffee maker had nearly nailed him on the back of the head when it flew out of the kitchen. Simon had sent me home, saying I needed to chill. It had just gotten worse here. Frustrated, I had barricaded myself in my room, with the chair locked under the doorknob for good measure. I had been pacing all day, trying to calm down as what was left in the room did a twirling air dance around me. Maria and I had been working together almost every night for the last month, trying to get this power under control. I could use it now with concentration, not doing anything drastic, but it always responded better when it was under a spontaneous reaction. Like my emotions. As mature as I was still just 17, a hormonal teenage girl who cried at random things. I was just better at hiding it than most. At least until this power managed to get out of the box I had it locked in, deep in my subconscious. I was really starting to regret accepting this air business. I had played that video game. Nothing ever good comes out of it. Real life wasn't video games, but they both had the same messages. Either way, it was going to suck. The sound of someone knocking on my door and jiggling the doorknob impatiently ripped me out of my reverie, and I looked over, seriously considering to tell them to go away. Dim's irritable voice floated through the door. "Oh, just let me in, Laveau." Growling not so quietly under my breath, I yanked the chair away and slammed the door open. How many times do I have to tell you it's Bishop? I snarled at him, furious as he shoved past me. For the last month, just to bug me, he had been intentionally pushing my buttons, that being one of them. It was probably because of my anger at him that every single flying object in the room, including a thick scrapbook that had been here since when I moved in, well, that's interesting, zoomed to whack him on the head. Ow! What was that for? He yelled, dropping to the ground as they pelted him. I smirked, feeling a type of gleeful happiness that could be associated with craziness as I resecured the door. Don't piss the girl off who has an army of objects flying around. That's what that was for. What do you want, Walker? I flopped down onto the bare mattress, sighing in contentment as my feet finally got a rest. I had been pacing far, far too long today. Dim made one of those guy noises that means, why the heck am I here? And slowly stood up, eyeing the flying objects warily. I felt a little petty as I saw the bright red shiner on his forehead. So I take it you weren't hungry? He said cautiously, sitting on the edge of the mattress as he took in the uneaten sandwich and all of the boxes. I shrugged. Not really. He nodded again cautiously. I was going to ask if you wanted help packing, but it looks like you're good to go, so... He frowned, not knowing what to say. I had never really watched the opposite species try to choose their words carefully. Usually I never let them get the chance. But it was actually entertaining. They looked so lost while trying it. Yeah. What do you want, Dimitri? I sighed, wanting to be left alone again. 5 minutes later. Just wanted to see if you were okay, he choked out. We were both laying down now with our shoulders touching, staring up at the dull rafters of the attic room. I turned my head, eyeing the tinge of pink on his cheeks. I cooed, smirking. Aw, is Dimmy embarrassed? I reached over to pinch his cheeks, only to have my hand slapped away. I giggled, body shaking with laughter as he scoffed, suddenly sitting up. No, I just wanted to see why you were stomping around. It's hard to sleep across the hall from you, he said crossly. I raised my eyebrows, checking my phone. It was 7:23 p.m. I shoved my phone in his face. You sleep at 7 p.m. on a Sunday night? He narrowed his eyes at the clock and scoffed again. Well, yeah, I'm a teen guy. I love my sleep. He was also lying. I grinned. Well, yeah, but in the mornings, not when there's just so many wasted hours at night, which could be used sneaking into strip clubs downtown. His entire face turned red. It was Chet's idea, I swear. Nothing happened, he flustered, rambling on and on. Chet, that was the mountain's name. Oh, God. Chet. I have not seen that name in a long time. Does anyone know of a Chet? Where did I see that name? Because it's actually kind of a good name. Like, go me. A little bit. What just pinched me? That did not feel good. Ow. Okay. I laughed until tears were running down my face. He stopped rambling, his face beet red and fuming. How did you even know? He growled, pushing his dark hair out of his eyes. He had that bad boy look going for him. I was always tempted to ask if it worked. I didn't, I said, chortling. I just made it up. That sent us both over the edge, him making excuses while I died from hysteria. Eventually, he thought it was funny, too, and we were both out of breath from laughter. The flying objects lay on the floor, forgotten. We laid there again, a companionable silence between us. He spoke up first. You excited? I frowned a little. More nervous, really. Why? I blushed a little, sitting up and looking away. Because I've never been to a school with other people, I guess. I don't know what it'll be like. What if it's like Mean Girls or something? I expected him to laugh, but he just sat up with me, leaning back, and his hands on his hands. It won't be that bad. You never let anyone push you around. And besides, no matter what the adults say, we're not going to be babysitting. Heck, we won't even have time for parties. So there goes half of the stereotypical cliches you're worried about, he said matter-of-factly. I frowned and turned over to him. So, what will it be like? I wondered. He rubbed his eyes tiredly, then looked at me. A big headache of homework and tests is what. We both stared at each other, and then I groaned. Oh, great. Homework and a full-time job? Not what the doctor ordered. I threw the blanket over my face now, just dreading this entire ordeal even more. You work? He said, surprise evident in his tone. I slowly peeled back the blanket and looked at him. Yeah, I have to learn a living somehow, unlike some of us, I teased good-naturedly, nudging him. He frowned, thinking. But I thought you were in the Laveau's trust fund. Like mad. I snorted. Yeah. No. Even if I was, I wouldn't want to be. I don't even want to be related to my mother. Why would I want to be associated as her trust fund baby? She sees me as a mistake. That's it. The last part I said with a slightly bitter tone, and the mood turned somber. Dim put a hand on my shoulder in sympathy. Sorry. I just was curious, he said awkwardly, sensing the bad blood between my mother and I. I shrugged indifferently. It's fine. We both ignored the lie. There's just some lies that shouldn't ever be questioned. We stayed like that a bit more, talking about video games, our likes and dislikes, just passing the time. My panic went away, and before we knew it, it was 9 o'clock. He reluctantly stood and stretched a bit. Well, see you in the morning, Leah. He smiled slightly, using our nicknames for each other. I stood as well, heading to the bathroom to get ready for bed. Night, Dim. Sweet dreams, we said at the same time, laughing slightly. When he left, I frowned, remembering the dream I had had of his family and Dracula. I was still no closer to finding out what had happened or why I had been called. Whatever it was, I was slightly worried because despite my best intentions to get over it, I liked Dim. Kind of a lot. As a friend. At least I told myself that. I stared into the mirror unhappily, then turned the lights out, crawling into bed. We had a long day ahead tomorrow. Tea break. Okay. When I woke up, I almost felt like just rolling over and going back to dreamland. That's me every morning, Eli. Yeah. I almost did just that, but the racket coming from all over the house had it shaking, literally. Groaning, I hauled my tired butt out of bed and stumbled to the bathroom. I rubbed my eyes and splashed water on my face. I gave myself a good, hard look in the mirror as I got dressed as fast as someone squinting in bright light can. Okay. Alright. Eliana Bishop, you are going to go downstairs like an adult. You will be fine. You will be courteous, polite, and will take no crap from anyone. Now, go on. Get out there, I told myself sternly, then stayed put like a coward. Shaking myself, I ventured out of my bathroom and yanked the door to the outer world open. And it was chaos. Oh, excuse me. Hopefully you didn't hear that. I just burped. I took one step out, then 3 steps back as a box came whizzing by, narrowly missing my nose. Maybe I should have stayed in bed. Sighing, I ducked and ran across the hall, managing to yank the door to Dim's room open and hauling myself inside. I heard the idiot chuckling behind me as I breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, shut up, Dim. You're such a chicken, he laughed, hauling me up from the ground, twirling me behind his back and opened the door. He blasted the incoming box against the wall and walked out with me, using him as a shield. I am not a chicken, I just don't feel like destroying other people's belongings, I huffed, eyeing the stairs. There were boxes rolling themselves down, running into kids, shoes, and the destroyed box at the bottom of the 3rd landing. Why wasn't Caroline fixing any of this? It was when Victor cried out in pain, falling down, that I put a stop to this. All right, enough, I bellowed, narrowing my eyes at the stairs. Instantly, the house responded, and the boxes and lights fixed themselves, themselves. All magic stopped, the kids shut up, and the stairs turned into a slide. The boxes conducted themselves in an orderly manner and lined up, sliding down the stairs. Everyone slowly stood up, staring at me in fear and awe. I scowled at all of them, noting my room was void of my belongings, and I slid down the slide. Dim smirked and followed me down. Can I just say that would be so nice in a moving situation? Your boxes moving on their own, the stairs turning into a slide. Amazing. Wish I had that. Not me projecting or anything, looking at moving again. I don't wanna. But I want to, but I don't want to do. Like, if I could just do the drive and just move into the house and it's all perfect, like I was just going home from a weekend trip, that would be great. But it's not. Moving sucks because of the process. Now that was dang attractive, he murmured into my ear, turning my cheek crimson as he stepped around me. I scowled at his back before following him into the kitchen. When we entered, Caroline and Ariana immediately shut up and acted like everything was okay, but clearly it wasn't. The stove was on fire, food covered the walls, and half-made pancakes were stuck on the ceiling. Oh, not the pancakes. The light bulbs had shattered, and both women had bright red faces and were breathing hard from fighting. I sighed internally, noting how Trevor was sitting there, reading his newspaper in his coffee-splattered shirt and tie. And Madeline looked furious. She kept glaring at the closeness of Dim and I, narrowing her eyes when I took a giant step to the side. He smirked lowly at me and grabbed a piece of pancake off the wall and munching on it. He gestured at me. Well, go on. Fix up, he said with his mouth full. I glowered at him before turning my gaze to the house. Instantly, things went to righting themselves, and the trash bags began piling up as the food was thrown away. Even the last bite of Dim's pancake flew out of his hands, and he scowled at me, pouting slightly. Excellent, yes, get it. I smiled sweetly at him, then handed him an apron and shooed the angry adults out of the kitchen. If you want to argue, go downstairs. I don't need anyone to be bonked on the head with a heavy box for the rest of the day. Thank you very much, I said, pushing Madeline out before slamming the door shut. I fixed him with the best glare I could give and said, let's fix some breakfast, shall we? Dim groaned and grumbled, but put an apron on, deciding it was better to help me than to argue with me. Well, yeah, when she can control the entire damn house by talking to it nicely. 30 busy minutes later, everyone rushed in and grabbed food from the waiting platters. There wasn't a lot of talking, just people shoving food into their mouths as fast as they could without choking on it. No thank yous, just a bunch of messy plates at the end as everyone ran downstairs. I shrugged and left the mess. Hey, we cooked. The parentals can clean when they get back. Oh, absolutely. They don't want to act like adults? They can clean. Dim and I took our sweet time reaching the lair, and I was surprised at how such a giant portal could fit into the room. I kept expecting kraken tentacles to come out of it with this ethereal blue surface. Little particles of glowing nothingness kept floating from it, and I caught one, only for it to dissolve like a bubble in my hand. It was time to go. As a group, we all stepped through, and for the second time this hectic morning, I felt like I wanted to go back to bed. Because if the house had been chaos, then this was anarchy. There was no rhyme or reason to what we had just stepped into, but there were pets of all shapes and types, cages, kids, adults, boxes, luggage, even someone's car, all coming through similar portals. What the heck? A car? Why would someone bring their car? Sorry about that. I spotted a poor security guard get run over by said car. I winced, feeling pity as everyone just ignored him until the car drove off, running him over. Only then did he get rushed off to the school's infirmary, or at least I think he was. It could have been the morgue, because it didn't look so good. Oh my god. What the hell is this chapter? Is it bad? Is it good? I don't know. Is it so bad that it's good, or is it just bad and funny? I don't know. I was shaken out of my thoughts by Caroline, with tears of pride in her eyes. "We shall miss you all. Oh, come here." Suddenly, I was in the middle of a crushing group hug. I couldn't breathe. Claustrophobia and germs crawling all over me. Ugh. I hate group hugs. Hate them. Relief swept over me as they let go of me, and I hastily stepped back a little. It had been quite a while since anyone who wasn't family or friends from work had hugged me. It felt unnatural. "Be nice," my inner voice chided. "Well, this is it, son. Call," Narcus said gruffly over to my left, solemnly shaking Dim's hand. His mother, Raid, was bawling and holding him. I could have sworn I saw a bit of tears falling through his closed eyelids as well. Swallowing thickly, I looked away. Everyone had their respective family members around them, and I was all alone. Just like always. Okay, we went from funny as heck to sad. Oh, my heart. It's a very good thing my characters aren't real, because I feel like they would come from my head. Do we think they'd come from my head? I think they'd come from my head. How many more days did I have? I didn't know. It felt like it had been forever ago. I had that countdown till the fateful day I turned 18. Now, who knows where I would be by then? Sighing softly to myself, I plugged in my earphones, hefted my bag I brought with me, and walked towards the check-in booths, situated all over the lawn in an orderly manner. I signed myself in, filled out the necessary paperwork, and received my new student packet and dorm key. I left all of my so-called coven members behind, trudging in the direction the map said to go. I was the first one in the boring gray. Hello, British English. Did not miss you. Stone building. Climbing the 4 staircases until I reached our floor. I opened the door and stepped inside, flicking on the lights. It gave the illusion of being a massive apartment, with many doors that must have led to bedrooms up and down the hall. To my left seemed to be a game room with a large TV and other consoles lying about. Our boxes were stacked neatly behind the L couch, separated by name. I found my stack and had them levitating behind me, ready to move into my room once I chose it. I ended up choosing the room in the farthest corner, away from the door, off of the study and kitchen areas, both of which were very nice. The room had 2 beds, 2 closets, and some room for other stuff. I dumped my stuff, boxes and all, on one bed and sank to the floor, brow furrowing. The feeling that was never far away from me was starting to tear me apart right now. I was all alone. Again. Forced to leave everything I knew behind. Again. Change. Change sucked. Everything changed when Dad had left through that rift, leaving me behind. Dying on me. Now, my future plans have been tossed in the trash. I was 17 and I couldn't make my own decisions, even if I had been for 2 years. The only thing that had stayed the same was my job, but I wasn't sure if it would be enough to keep me sane this time. Clenching my jaw shut, I angrily wiped my tears away and stood stiffly unpacking my belongings. No matter what would happen, there were only 2 options: give up or get up. I wasn't a quitter. That was the only thing driving me to unpack the boxes instead of weeping on the floor in despair. I went to bed early, skipping dinner. No one came into my room, so I assumed I didn't have a roommate. I didn't care much. My clothes were either folded neatly into the drawers or hanging up in the closet. My desk was sorted, paperwork and pens ready. Backpack hung on the back of the chair, prepped for Wednesday, the first day of classes. My TV and game consoles were plugged in and in order. I ignored the commotion coming through the walls, the happy laughter of the kids who had found freedom from their parents. I envied them. They still had parents. They still had people who loved and cherished them. I missed my family so much it hurt. Choking back a sob, I hugged the pillow and fell asleep. Oh, boy, my feelings. Oh, my feelings. Damn. Oh, you're not gonna like what I may or may not have planned for you, Eli. Sorry. Cool. And just get rid of that one. Okay. I don't know if that chapter was bad or if it was a good one. I kind of liked it, actually. It was really kind of funny. I think probably the best thing I've done with this is emotions and, like, character development, and really showing, I think, where Eli is in her life, just emotionally and otherwise. I think that was probably what I had down then. But, I mean, I liked it. I don't know. So, yeah. Up to others to decide, I guess. We are now at a shared hatred and almost to the 100-page mark. We're at 91 of 206. So we're almost halfway through the book, actually. So, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's YouTube. If people don't enjoy this, they're not gonna watch it. So, I don't know. But yeah, that being said, I hope people enjoyed it. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all can tell me. You don't have to tell me. I don't know. Have a great Tuesday. I will see you guys in another episode. Yeah. Have a great week. Bye.